Shall we play a game?
Hello. I was thinking they don't want to hear me munching, and I thought, mic's on. They can probably hear me anyway. Hello, Michael, Caleb, Dave, and Michael. Hopefully everyone is well. Hopefully, Michael, your job search is progressing. We've got a bit of a funny one here. We're going to the Malmsbury branch. I'm not actually sure when the Malmsbury branch came out, but it's been a while. But we're going to dive in and we're going to start playing with a Penny 5700 from Great Western Railway. I have another bit of toast to eat, so I'll turn the mic off for a little while, because you don't want to hear that. Good afternoon, driver. Once you have the road, proceed into Little Somerford Station and pick up passengers from Malmsbury. I have, by the way, noticed the vegetation. It's not going... I fixed it. It turned out to be my anti-aliasing settings. I've also managed to make the game a little bit brighter, which I think is realistic. I think it's okay. Let me know what you think. We have the road, apparently. Look, rail driver's going to work. This is good. I need to move my cup of tea, or it's going to... Oh, yeah, the cup of tea in the British Ace mug. Well, it's not really a British Ace mug. He bought it for me. Not going well, Michael. Well, that's sad. We'll have to chat about what you're doing to find work. All right, let's get the brakes off, independents off, main ones off. How about some headlights? You want headlights? Ooh, headlights. I think we got headlights. Can we get headlights? Let's have a look. Yay, we have marker lamps. Okay. Forward gear. Oh, rail driver's actually going to work. And a little bit of oomph. And off we go. Steam pissing everywhere. Ooh, don't trust that one. She's wearing a hoodie. Look at that. Right in there. Can't ever trust someone wearing a hoodie. We all know that, right? Oh, they had them in the 1950s too, did they? Oh well. Alright, let's throttle off and let it roll in. We have got the road again coming to the station. We were following another train by the looks of it rather closely. There's another one over there. Chuffing away, doing some shunting or something. I always like it when the scenarios have a bit of life to them. And the more recent scenarios in Train Sim Classic, no life. But these older ones, pretty good. Comes an express goods. Is it a Grange? That looks like a Grange on a goods train. Okay. There's a fairly passable London bus over there. We'll get stopped in the station to get the doors open. We'll go have a look around this station, because I think it's quite nice. Brakes on in a moment. I do know this one's a touch finicky on where you stop. Now, why did I go out and buy this particular one in the sale? Come on. Well, we can stop now, honest. Alright, I'll put the independent on as well. Ooh, that might be too far. Nah, success. Just made it. Why did I buy this one in the sale? Because I needed it for that one that's out as a members only video. Actually, it might be public now. Which was the little tramway from Wales. That's pretty cool. The Leyland diesel bus. And there's another one. The shadow under it's a bit poor, but the buses are okay. Decent car assets. And this guy really is. Yes. If you have the road, proceed to Malmsbury. Of course we will. This one actually appears to really be doing some shunting. Now this is not something I've seen in a scenario before. Trains actually actively shunting. Bit of effort's gone into this one. Bonk. Will it couple? Inquiry minds needs it coupled. I've never seen that happen in a scenario before with manual coupling. Yeah, someone's done a bit of scripting work on this one. Alright, let's get out of here. It appears to be time. Do we have a signal? We do. Let's go. We're going to head off onto the branch line. Yeah. So catching up with chat. I think we're going to change tracks soon, so I'm reluctant to speed up. Might even be here. Yes! Good. Okay, that's why I didn't want to speed up to 45. 19's bad enough. But it'll be fine, because we're going off on the little branch. So I know your job's not going well, Michael. So what are you actually doing to hunt? I'd want to know what you're actively doing. I have those same conversations with my kid. What are you actively doing, Matthew? That's not meant to be derogatory in any way, shape or form there, Michael. I know you're an adult. So is he. People need to get a little push sometimes to move on. And why am I doing TSC so much lately instead of TSW? Well, I'm making content for the new release, so I can't show it to you. Oh, look at us speeding up as we go down the hill. How naughty are we? Naughty engine. Little bit of brake on, I think. We are getting just a little out of control here. Little peep for the farm gates. Yeah, now we can just go again. Its brakes are nothing to write home about, to be honest, on this locomotive. You got nice water though. That makes up for the crap brakes. Yeah, so some of you know I run the RW Enhanced package. Turned out when it turned on its version of anti-aliasing, it actually turned off the native one in the game, and you need both. You can't just run theirs, otherwise everything goes flickery and horrible. That's a nice bit of smoke. Let's bring it back a bit now. Sort of if you describe some of your skills, Michael. I'd suggest getting out of the POS business because POS is dead. POS has been replaced by people's phones. Companies like Square. It's one of those disruption things, unfortunately. Yes, a few Greta's being blasted out of the smokestack here. We're probably operating, and looking at that, we're probably going at about 18 Gretas per minute at the moment. We also have a rather nasty steam link in the inside cylinders there. Hello, Rails of Illinois. So maybe if you suggest what some of your skills are, Michael, maybe the audience can help suggest some things to look for. We're in Malmsbury today, Rails of Illinois. And I'm going to switch off my mic for a moment. And I'm going to eat my other piece of toast. Because I'm hungry. I could leave the mic on and do some ASMR. think the Greta count of the big boy would be something about 1,000 per minute. That sounds pretty nice, doesn't it? See, now the brakes are going to work completely. They're very slow to act. As we roll into Malmsbury. I see you say you've got one last iron in the fire, Michael. Don't treat it as a last iron. Treat it as one opportunity. And be prepared to make more opportunities. So don't wait for one at a time. Get multiple things happening. So that when it comes time for you to have a choice, if you get two people say, hey Michael, we'd love you to start with us, then at that point you can say, well, I'm going to negotiate because I've got two offers. So you always want to make sure you've got more than one, otherwise you can't negotiate, because they'll just say, well, that's it, mate, take it or leave it. You either want the job or you don't. Whereas if you've got a couple of them going, or you can at least make the appearance of legitimately having a couple of them going, then you can negotiate a little more strongly. I think I'm going to stop a little bit early. I think this actually might have a steam chest simulation, you know, because it doesn't stop chuffing for a little while after you cut the wreck off. It's kind of cool. Alright, we are here at Malmsbury. I think we have to take a return working in this scenario, so we probably have to run around. Yes. Very good. And there's one of our 1950s ladies in her floral dress. She must have been called Greta because she just got consumed by the engine. No, I don't see it as your last one, Michael. That's defeatism. I don't want you to see defeatism. What I'd like you to do is have a look around and be pretty wide in what you might do. I would have cut off by now, just saying. I rode as a passenger the same trip that I fired last night. It was quite a different experience. Expect video. Hello, C. Welcome. Now everyone is off. I could have sworn people were getting on. Run around the coaches for the return. Throw the points as required. Uncouple from the coaches and then pull forward into the head shunt. Well, it is quite specific that it wants you to throw the points first, but we don't need to do that. We can do these ones, I suppose. And let's uncouple this little beast. We should probably put a handbrake on, though, because it's flat, but you never know. So let's put a brake on in the back and go kablonk. Very good. A little toot there from the engine. He builds his vacuum back up enough to move himself. There we go. Suppose I should really have opened the cocks. I'm good, see. Michael needs some suggestions of where he can branch out into different kinds of employment. Whee! Actually, I probably don't want to... Oh no, that track does go through, it's okay. I had a momentary panic when the track didn't render and I thought, this is a siding. But no, it's not. It's fine. That looks like a bit of an abandoned church up there, doesn't it? Throw the points as required and proceed either via the centre road or the shed road. Make sure you stop short at the stop board. That sounds threatening to me. It sounds like a promise. Where is the said stop board? Oh, all the way around here. I don't see a stop board. Anybody else see a stop board? Is that a stop board, maybe? That's a stop board. It says stop. Let's go look at this church. It's getting distracted. Is it being built? Or is it one of those ones that got bombed and partially reconstructed, I wonder? Or is it always like that? I was at a very interesting one in Manchester, in what is effectively Manchester Cathedral. We actually sit here on the buffers. We are sitting on the buffers. Look at that. Oh, not quite. We didn't quite hit them. Well, that's just in time, really. Ah, that's what we need. Come on, gentlemen. We're going to the pub. Let's just go to the pub. Oh, no, the pub's empty. No beer. Damn it. But anyway. That was something that amused me about my... Actually, back to Manchester first. Back we go. We don't need to chuff too hard because this is a flat yard. So, Manchester Cathedral had been actually bombed several times in World War II, and it was damaged again in a terrorism event. And they just keep rebuilding it and adding to its story, which I actually think is kind of cool. I'm not a great supporter of the church concept, but the way... Is that signal actually red? Am I going to spad? No, it's fine. The way that they handle it as a life concept and that they just keep rebuilding, I think is an awesome thing. And not only do they keep rebuilding, it's happened several times in their history. I think they got sacked once earlier in the lifetime of the church, and they have a stained glass window for each event, depicting the events that happened, including the terrorism event that was not that long ago, actually. It was only a few years ago. I think that's just a really good sign of resilience. Let's put the world's slowest brakes on. And back into forwards. What if I make it change marker lamp ends? Because we're going to want the white ones on the front, aren't we? Get the chuffer off, because we don't want to go too hard into the carriages. It is a very nice model. It's very nicely done. The update will come out on Tuesday, Vin. Tuesday British Standard Time. Oh, we do have a red light on the back. So whatever time updates normally come out in whatever region of the world you're in, should be about when they come out for you on Britain's Tuesday. So for Aussies, that would be, generally speaking, overnight, Tuesday to Wednesday transition. I reckon that signal is actually for the station track, not for the yard track, which is why it didn't matter. I have played Feather River Canyon, And Michael is right, I have played both. This is the uncomfortable moment where someone goes and stands in the middle. Bonk. Alright. Now, how do I get back up again on this camera? There we go. Can we couple here? Oh, look at that, we can. Beautiful. Better get that handbrake off, though. Oh. There we go. It changed to the other carriage. Because I thought, no, it didn't. I'm being silly. I'm just being silly. I notice it's decided I have a controller connected. Do you know I've never run Train Sim Classic with a controller? Let's try it. What? Stop at the Malmsbury runaround. Well, I did that. Oh dear. I've confused the scheduler. Well, we're just going to run it as though it's working properly. Because I didn't stop the engine in the right place, clearly. There we go. Everybody thinks it's time to go, except for the game, so it's all good. So, how do we do... Just trying to work out how we do the reverser on the controller. Okay, I figured out brakes. Yep, definitely figured out brakes, but how do we do the reverser? It's none of these buttons. It's not these buttons. Is it these buttons? No, they're camera changes. Ooh, violent camera changes. Can I have my camera back, please? I'm looking out through my own eyeballs. Look. It's my mouth. Oh, that's creepy. That's so creepy. Alright, we'll give up on the controller. It's probably a reason I've never used it. Off we go. We're not going to actually succeed in this scenario because I didn't stop in the right place, so balls. Caleb says he asked because he was born in Quincy, and I know the route well when it came out. I had to buy it. So what do you think of the remastered route? Do you think it was worth the cash? Because it's always good to hear from someone who lives nearby to hear how realistic or not it is. A little garden. Cabbages. It's cool. If we go on the chuffer, going too fast as usual. It seems to be my trademark, doesn't it? Train Simulator Speeder. Vin says, I cannot wait to pick up the 380 on Thursday too. Cathcart was already one of the best routes in the games. This is the icing on the cake. I think you'll like the 380. Obviously I can't give you any details, but you've seen it on the thing. I find it's quite drivable and pleasant. It's a relatively easy one to drive. So, not challenging in the slightest. Well, that was a strange kind of tunnel. An even stranger kind of cow we heard. I think a cow may have just lost its testicles. Poor cow. So we're heading back to Malmsbury, which will come as a little... Well, coming back to the main station, which will come as a little bit of a surprise because we don't have a scenario guiding us anymore. Oh, now it's decided I stopped in the right place and it wants me to couple up. Well, I've got bad news for you, game. We're ahead of you. C says he's not getting the 380. Pointless in his opinion, but the 380 does look and sound really good. I think they've... Yeah, that's perfectly fine, C. You don't need to have it. I think that they've nailed the 380 sound in ways that they didn't on the 700. On the 700, there was a bowing to community pressure that it make that stupid car alarm noise all the time, and those trains do not make that noise all the time. I have ridden them. I know they don't. So, yes, Dovetail, don't bow to wankers. Seriously. Anyway, I've ridden the thing as a passenger and I've driven it. I am very happy with the sound, because it matches my experience with that particular set of cars, which is good. Thank you, Cal. Yes, very well said. That's exactly what I was thinking. Vin says, don't usually buy much DLC for Train Sim World, but a soft spot for ScotRail stuff, having me live in Scotland. Well, welcome to Scotland to the stream. Good to have you. It was the one country I didn't really get to, and yes, I call it a country. Yes, it is. I didn't really get there in the United Kingdom, which might make you ask, how did I ride at 380? Well, there were opportunities. Some of the things I did on my trip I can't actually talk about because they were arranged with real railways and were probably not official. Let's just say that. So we won't mention them any more than I just did. Caleb says, going back to Feather River, yeah, I do. It was really well done, but the route does not end in Quincy Junction, where there is a huge lumber mill, and Quincy Junction is a spur. Been along the whole route from Orville to its termination in Portola, California. Yeah, a lot of the routes go further than they do in-game. It sadly is usually a commercial decision on whether they can afford to build more of it or not. And that's usually what it comes down to, which is pretty sad, but it's just how things are. It's just reality, I guess. I wonder if the game will ever figure out I've left Malmsbury. I'm thinking no, but that's okay, because we'll just pretend this scenario finished and we'll get on with the next one. It'll be fine. Because what else were we supposed to do in this one? We're just going to the back to the other station, up to Somerford, which is what I'm doing. So we'll be fine. It's all good. Hello, Chasty Fox. Welcome. I don't think I've seen you here before, so welcome to the channel. We've been chatting about Malmsbury. We've been chatting about Feather River. We've been chatting about Michael's job search. So if you have a job for Michael, let him know. And we've been chatting about the 380 and the Cathcart route that's coming out. So Cathcart update coming out on UK Tuesday. It sounds funny, doesn't it? UK Tuesday. It sounds like something like Pancake Tuesday. But you get a free UK. Everyone needs a free UK. We've also discussed how many Gretas per minute come out of a little GWR side tank pannier. C says, my reasoning is I hardly ever play Train Sim World and certainly never really play Cathcart, plus side refreshing, no, the 380 horn isn't that typical Scotland train horns. Yeah, well, actually, one of the interesting things that I encountered on my UK travels is that the drivers don't really use the horns at all unless someone's in their way. Then they do. But most of the time they don't actually toot at anything. It's a bit like Germany. Which made me really sad, because, you know, I like a good train horn. Like everyone. Did you see that whole creek disappear then? I did. One of the quirks of Train Simulator Classic. Whole rivers vanish sometimes. This would be a cool house to live, wouldn't it? Trains ripping past every now and again. I wonder if the guy who lives here is responsible for opening and closing the gates. That could be possible. That might be why that house actually exists. Better put on a bit of oomph, since we're going to go up a hill. And we have an against on the yellow here. I'm relatively confident that because that train in front of us has cleared, which has got the big grange on it by the looks of it, which doesn't appear to be animating all that well, but anyway. This one in front of us should clear. Assuming it's not being driven by scenario scripting, in which case this scenario will end at that signal because we won't be able to go through it. We may have to do the dreaded tab thing. Denied. So it might be driven by the scenario. Let's just creep up on it. just wait. Well, actually, that's not my signal, is it? No, that signal's on the main line. My signal's further up there, and I think... It's a bit hard to tell, but I think it is actually at Proceed. Well, there you go. I'm not going to spat after all. Which is good, because, you know, after my efforts at Dubsdale, Matt did try and call me Train Sim Spatter. Which annoyed the streamer Hentus a little bit, because he's often called Train Sim Spatter, apparently. But that's okay. I like Hentus. If you're looking for another channel to watch, Hentus is a good one. He has fairly open and honest views on some things. Caleb said the route and the Shasta line and didn't. I'm guessing you mean Donna Pass and autocorrect got you. Are your favourite routes and you know them all well. Excellent. Yeah, American Freight's one of those things you either you love it to bits and you love the really long runs, or you hate it. It's one of those polarizing ones. I fit somewhere in between the love it and hate it, so I'm weird. I'll quite happily play it, but it's not something that I seek out because I like short things like this, really. Thank you, C. Yes, it's really helpful if you hit the like button during a stream, actually, because the two things that help get your stream promoted are people smashing the like button and people chatting. So those two things will signal to YouTube that this streamer is liked by the community and it's worth giving it a bit of a push. Now, I don't think this is going to recognise my stop, so that's fine. We'll just stop anywhere on the platform, and we'll open the doors and let the people out, and we'll say job done, even though the game isn't going to agree with me, and that's fine, because we've driven it and we've had fun. There you go, people. Caleb says, and the UP big boy. Which big boy do you like? Do you like Smokebox's big boy, or do you like one of the other two variants that's in the game? So I'm going to call this scenario done at this point because it's never going to finish. So we're going to go back to the main menu now. And we're going to run the next one. Vin says it doesn't feel like the 158 will ever come out. I reckon it will. Reminds me, actually, I should actually... So we're going to do the same thing again with different train. We're going to shunt a little bit. So I'm actually avoiding shunting to pick up freight because I know what happens to the view count when I start shunting. Good morning, driver. Once you have the road. Did we just start the same scenario? Oh no, we do actually have a different consist. Hey, look, we have got a mixed consist this time. This is something I don't think happened in the US very much for the US viewers. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the US ran an awful lot of mixed trains. There we go, the brakes have finally come off. Chances are the rear of that train's not braked at all anyway, and only the passenger carriages are. We'll have a look at that when we get into the platform. We'll see if they're connected or not. No brake pipes. So they're not actually connected. Those are all what's called unfitted stock. Which means stopping this train will be fun. Even more fun than the other one. Good luck, Michael. I hope the search goes well for you. Branch out widely. Don't just look at POS jobs and bank jobs. Very important, I think. The 158, I reckon, will come, and it'll be nice to have, and something I'd love to see. There goes another Grange ripping through the station. Also a mixed. But something I'd love to see is after the 158 comes out, is recreate the 150 from the 158. I think that would be a really good thing to do. I'm deliberately just crawling into the station because I just know this is going to be hard to stop. And Chase just discovered the channel yesterday, catching the first live stream. Cool. Let me know what you think. I'm usually relatively silly. Sometimes I take it somewhat seriously, like today, but not always. And even though I've got 0.04 of a mile to go, I might just start applying the brakes now. Actually, they work better with unfitted stock. How about that? They're going to recognise that as a stop? No, probably not. Sorry, passengers. Sorry for the confusion. We have to move again. Away we go. Alright. 2 chuffs is enough. Oi, stop chuffing. Oh, let's try that braking again. Come on, brakes, brakes, brakes. Is it still not far enough? Oh no. Oh no. We've got a trainee driver today. Oh no. The guard up the back will be going, what is he doing? Brakes. There we go. It definitely has steam simulation. What I mean by that is when you first cut off, there's a steam chest that has been filled when you open the regulator, and it's shared between the cylinders generally. And when you shut the regulator, the steam pressure in the steam chest has to dissipate through the cylinders before the locomotive actually stops pulling, or pushing as the case may be. And I think this has got a steam chest simulation, which is really unusual for an old locomotive in TSC. It's quite cool. You've got the road, proceed to Malmsbury. I like the way the scenario writer's not confident the signalling's working. He's going, if you've got the road. Time to go. Start off with the cocks open, let the water out of the cylinders. And we'll cut off completely there. You see, I cut off and it goes back to 0, and you get at least 4 or 5 chuffs out of it. That's what makes me think it's got steam chest. But anyway, this is an adequate speed to cruise through the points here. C says, one thing I've been waiting for is suspension, which I think may be out this month. It is getting towards the summer type of region, and it was a 2024 deliverable, and we're coming into 2025. So yes, that timing's probably not unreasonable from a player's perspective. I don't have inside knowledge of that, just saying, so I'm not revealing or leaking anything, but I would think that would not be an unreasonable expectation from a player's point of view, because it has been a year since Train Sim World 4 came out, or approaching a year. I'm not sure if we're quite there yet. When did it come out? Let me Google. It was the 26th of September 2023. So, what are we in? July. So we're probably sometime... So we got July, August, September, I would think. So yeah. Well, maybe it's not the next month then, because we've still got 3 months, haven't we? Let's get this little coffee pot working. Don't want to give you too much go juice though, because he's going to go down a hill and he's going to speed up like crazy again, like he did last time. Even I can learn. See, a monkey can learn. We did see an inkling of suspension in the 218, which appeared to be running in pacer mode. And here we go on the big run down the hill where we speed up ridiculously. And I put the brakes on and almost nothing happens. Oh, they're actually working this time. They're holding our speed. That'll be fine. And we're about to come back onto the flat, so I'll release them. So the suspension should be less active than what we saw on the 218. Did you see what's on that little door? It's got a welcoming smiley face. What a good thing to have on what is potentially a line-side toilet. Uh-oh, it's starting to rain. Did you know that up until fairly recently, when it was taken out in an update, the algorithm that decides how the water flows down the window was the only thing from TSC that came into TSW. It's the only thing. Isn't that funny? A little bit of trivia for you. Get the Grettas out again. C says the 218 looks really good. I actually like it, but didn't pick it up. That's alright. You don't have to pick up everything. I mean, being quite honest with you, if I wasn't getting things as an ambassador, there would be things that I wouldn't pick up too. It's actually interesting, German railways kind of grew on me. I didn't like them at first, but now I actually kind of do, and I even like using PZB. So it's, if you're in your comfort zone, I do suggest jumping out, because you can learn some cool stuff. C says, in his opinion, rain effects look better in TSC than TSW. Well, I've only had the first generation of TSW rain effects come out in the second big update to TSW 4. So they've only just changed. Look at that. Turn the windscreen wipers on. Oh, wait. This cab's not bad for an old locomotive either. It's actually quite nicely modelled. You've even got the little lantern highlighting the amount of water you've got in the gauge, which is sitting up there. One thing neither TSC nor TSW does is actually model the refraction from the lines behind the gauge. So if we go over there and look down, no refraction, but that's okay. Caution, do not look over or pass along the side of this cab when near bridges, tunnels, load gauges, or coal stages. I wonder why that might be. Might it be because it would pull your head off? It does suggest the penny is a little bit wide locomotive, doesn't it? Let's have a little bit of regulator, rail driver. A little bit. That's too much. That's better. Back out to Malmsbury again. Hello, Chris Martin. Welcome. We're heading out to Malmsbury today. Got a little mixed train. A little Great Western Railway pannier tank. locomotive. They always waddle like ducks, these things. I have to say that one is actually doing it. They do this. They hunt. Because they don't have pilot wheels. GWR, for whatever reason, didn't think pilot wheels were a good idea on small locomotives, even though everybody else did. I have to say I'm very happy that... hello, bad guy 89. I have to say on our railway, we run 262s with pilot wheels, and they don't hunt unless they're quartered incorrectly, and then they do. But it's a much more comfortable ride than what you get on one of these. Because the locomotives on these things, because they're hunting from side to side, as the pressure changes in the cylinders, it's quite an uncomfortable ride in a cab. Even backed up with personal experience. One thing I have to say about the UK Heritage Railways is the ones that knew I was coming were very hospitable, and even the ones that didn't know I was coming, when I was just chatting with crews and things like that, there was plenty of opportunities for cab rides, so very hospitable towards people from other railways, which is very nice to see. I can't say our railway's that hospitable, I wish it was. I was actually having a chat with our marketing manager last night. She was at the event I was at. And I bored her in tears about how important it was to respect people from other railways. And she said they're reworking the cab pass stuff at the moment, so it was good feedback. I don't want to build up speed, I just want to maintain it for the moment. I'm going well, bad guy 89. How are you? I hope you're well. And C says, recently joined the gym and had a good few sessions already. Bought some protein shakes and powder. Also got a meal replacement powder. It's something I've wanted to do for a while for my own personal reasons. That's cool. Yes, I use the gym of the steam locomotive coal firing cab. And I have to say, it does make quite a bit of a difference. I'm not going to sit here and take my shirt off, but the doesn't do that much for your gut. That tends to hang around, but it makes a big difference for your arms and your back and your legs, that's for sure. Into the tunnel of love. Switch from coffee to tea. My tea's already gone cold, of course. Hey Andy, how are you? Andy's another one with a very irreverent channel. So Andy streams a variety of stuff. Andreas Stengel is there. So if you're looking for another channel that does train and truck and bus and tram and other bits and pieces, and dive in with Andy, especially if you like a German speaking stream. But he plays pretty much everything, don't you, Andy? I did make it back from my trip to England. I did indeed. Did England and Wales. I could see Scotland from one of the places I was at, but I didn't actually go there. Maybe next time. If there is a next time, who knows. See what money looks like, see what the world looks like. If we haven't collapsed into World War III by then. A lot of countries seem to be angry lately. Seems very Cold War-ish, it's just smaller versions of the countries. Seems to be a standard thing about countries. Oh, my economy's turning to poo. I know. I'll start a war. What a good idea. And he does do a lot of trucking indeed. Let's get some brakes on and hope they work. Because we're at about the point we need to stop. Looks like they might. Yes. I'll pretend I planned it that way. Uh-oh, we're in the earth. That's better. No, now we're behind a fence. Wait for the people to get on and off. And then we're going to do a little bit of shunting, I believe. I think from the scenario description. Yeah, it looks like we're doing a bit of moving around of things. And it's using marshal commands, which gives you a little bit more freedom, but they often don't work too. So we'll see how that goes. Now the passengers are off. It's time to shunt the wagons. Draw the train forwards into the head shunt. Don't forget to throw the points during the shunting. I can see why I want to draw the train forwards. I was just curious about that because I still need to release the locomotive, so I don't want to draw it forward too far. But I'm guessing that I need to clear these points here so that I can shunt, because we probably want to put stuff up there. So I have to go almost all the way to the buffers, I think, because there's 4 cars, or 3.5 cars sitting over the points. And I've only got about that long, so I am actually going to have to go right into the head shunt. Which must mean we're pushing back into that shed. Rather than what I was expecting, which is to put stuff over there. But that's cool. We'll do that. And we'll obey the instructions this time. So this time when it says stop, stop in the right place. Or we'll try to anyway. Bad guy says you and Matt had some pretty good banter going on in the official dovetail chair. That was quite entertaining. Yeah, we're kind of both scumbags, really. In a very similar kind of mindset. It was a good fun stream, it really was. And poor Jamie. Jamie had actually dressed up and he'd gotten on a vest from his local railway, and he had all of these badges, and he had his newly grown moustache that he wanted to show off. We haven't quite got to the 00 yet. How are we going? A little while to go. We're not quite there yet though. Oh, there we are. It's recognised it. Better stop. So I assume it's going to want me to throw these points up here, but I'll wait until it actually tells me to do it, because it is TSC, and TSC gets upset if you do things in advance. Yeah, and you couldn't even see Jamie because he joined a bit late. So he didn't actually get set up in video because, you know, by the time he joined, we were live. So that's life. So Malmsbury General Goods. So if we just jump into the map, we've got Malmsbury Covered Goods and Malmsbury General Goods. So General Goods is at the back. Okay. And we want to put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars in the back. Now, is that all the cars we've got? So we're going to leave the guards van there as well. Okay. They're making it easy. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's not all the cars we've got. So that's 5. That's those 5. Which means that one we must be putting somewhere else. Let's just have a look at the instructions and make sure. Yeah, 755975. So that's that one we're going to put in the covered goods. So we'll leave that one in the shed, I guess. All right. We will proceed, Your Honour. Caleb has spent 9 years driving trucks and had 9,000 hours in ATS. That is amazing. That really is. I do actually play ATS as well, various versions of it, the American one and the European one. I even play the Australian one. But I don't tend to stream them particularly much. Mainly because my channel's called Train Simulator Driver. I do occasionally. I have another game I've been playing that I'm actually thinking about streaming outside my normal time slot, which is called Little Kitty Big City, because it's an awesome game. And you can see trains occasionally, so I feel justified. It's set in Japan. It's a cat that falls out of its apartment building and miraculously doesn't die, even though it falls 8 floors. And you have to guide it back home, and it sends you off on all these side quests. It's basically a puzzler. It's a really entertaining game. I finished it the other day, but I didn't get all the achievements, so I was thinking I might start playing it again live. Because it's in Game Pass for this month. So it's coming out this month. So if I do that, I need to do it soon. Quietly shunting back here. Andy says he only has 1713. Only, he says. Only 713 hours in ATS. Maybe main game was TSC for a long time. You like trains and trucks. Yes, you do. That's a cool thing, though. It does amuse me that I'm real life in trains and I play it in a simulator. It does get eyebrows on the railway sometimes when they come across my channel on YouTube and they go, "That's you. You play a train simulator." I go, "Yep." I think it might be an opportune time to get some brakes on. No, maybe that'll stop us too early. There we go. Lots of brakes. Lovely. Okay. Now, let's get onto the 8 camera. And we're going to want to keep that one on the train. We're going to uncouple here if it'll let me. It does. Very good. Now draw the train back towards the goods shed and uncouple the van in the goods shed. Very good. Forward. Just wait for the brakes to pump back off. One of the nice things about this kind of coupling is they don't automatically recouple by themselves, which is something that does happen with Knuckles. So you can just sit here and prototypically wait, not worried about your train joining itself back together again. Let's get inside the shed, shall we? Just go straight through the wall here, because walls mean nothing to us. We have superpowers. It's going a bit quick, so I think I might just pop a little bit of brakes on. Maybe a lot of brakes. Is that going to be enough? Yes. And it's on the flat, so I'm not putting handbrakes on. Now draw the coaches back into the platform into a suitable position to run around them and allow the passengers to board. A suitable position. Ooh. The reason I'm not bothering with handbrakes, even though you prototypically would, you'd never leave a carriage sitting even on a flat siding without its brakes on. In this game, and in Train Sim World, as soon as you uncouple, they don't have physics anymore and they can't move. Except when they do. If you copped that in the nuts, wouldn't it, as you ran past? It's interesting how it says a suitable position, and it actually gives me a specific position. I'm using the vacuum brake the way an English steam driver told me to do it. There we go. Yeah, it probably wants me to uncouple that and run around would be my bet. But we'll wait until we're told, because it is TSC and we don't want to break it again. Bad Guy says, Matt is a good dude. He likes Matt. Matt actually is a very good dude, because I do chat with him behind the scenes sometimes. And, yeah, he's a very good unit, Matt. He really is. Now run around the train going via the head shunt loop and then stopping short of the stop board at the station throat. Very good. Now it specifically wants to go via the loop, so after I get it stopped, because it just took off like a bloody scared bunny rabbit. Come on, you. Come on. Stop, stop, stop. Don't run into the buffers. Because it did actually say go via the loop, didn't it? So it wants to go down this Yeah, it wants to go down this inner track. Okay, that's fine. So we'll just set those. Set that one. Back we come. It's going to run over me here, but that's fine. Go on, you. Let's go. I like that they keep all their fire irons on the back of the locomotive. Oh, we're inside it now. Very good. It is sort of a wide stance, isn't it? Blast out a few more Gretas while we have the opportunity. C says, people piss me off. Most lives they dig at him and there's banter and there's the line. I just feel some overstep it. Yeah, look, they do. People take advantage of good nature. They always do. There's always a segment of our community that does that. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend to you that DTG is perfect, because they're not. There are some things they do that I would prefer they chose a different course. But, you know, it's not my business, so I don't get to make that choice. Sneaking up on that stop board. There we go. Lovely. Now we want to go and change some points again. Oops, let's go onto the 8 camera. That might be better than tying ourselves to locomotive with a piece of spaghetti. And that one's fine. No, that one's not fine. What am I doing? What am I doing? I've probably set the other one wrong too, didn't I? Now back onto the coaches and couple them up. Yes, I did set the other one wrong. I set it for the shed road. What a donkey. Let's go up here and check these points. Look at my consistency. Sometimes doing it in the map and sometimes doing it here. Isn't that nice? Very consistent. Okay, we're going to stand up here on the platform and watch this. Because, you know, we trust our driver to manipulate everything by himself. It's fine. By the way, the scenario says back up onto the carriages because you're actually driving forwards. But anyway, that's fine. Dave C says he likes Mad as well. Cool. Dave Randall says that's a great game. ATS. ATS is a good game, actually. Or are you talking about Little Kitty Big City? Because, yes, it's an awesome game. If you've never heard from it, you just want a bit of fun. It really is just a fun game. It's a puzzler. And you've got to find your way around. Sort of an old-style adventure, but without text. It's all graphics. And I really enjoy playing it. Does the steam brake work on this thing? I'm just trying the independent brake on Rail Driver. I don't think it does. I don't think it does anything. So it's a combined brake, I'm guessing. Yes, it is. So bring this in until it bonks into the coaches. Nice and gently, because you've probably already got some people on there, so you don't want to bonk it too hard. Don't want to upset your passengers. It's interesting it wants me to couple in 0.04 miles because, you know, there's not that much distance there, really. And once again, it takes off like a scared rabbit. Just couple that before the other carriages roll away. It's time to head back for Summerford. Depart when ready. Okay. Very good. But we never opened our doors and let our people in, but that's all right. We'll just pretend we did. And of course, your crew would want a break. They wouldn't want to go straight back because, you know, they want to have a cup of tea and maybe a sandwich. And they're going to want to go to the toilet. All those kinds of things that crews like to do. we speeding already? What a naughty driver I am. Caleb says, I play realistically and it's funny to watch people who don't drive them trying to back a 53-foot trailer into a dock the first time. You know, there's an art to backing a trailer. I'm quite comfortable with smaller things, anything up to about 5 meters, 30 feet. Beyond that, I don't have enough experience in it. Which is funny because at one time in my life I did drive a truck and dog, which is a, I think it was a 7-ton truck with a 5-ton trailer. Since you're in the UK, double those numbers, because this is metric stuff we're talking about, not this weird imperial measurements. But I was never very good at backing that thing. Back should be out of the tunnel by now, maybe. We haven't used any coal at all. And I watch the drivers who drive B doubles, or the ones who drive road trains that have 3 or more trailers on them, and you watch these guys back them and it's like, that is impressive that they can do that. You'll watch people come down a road and do a 90-degree turn with 2 or 3 trailers on backwards, and then within the yard that they're going into, they'll have to back into a shed or a factory or something along those lines, and they just do it. It's just quite amazing to watch. Alright, we should get going. Andy says TSC is 361 hours. I don't actually know what my hours is in TSC. It's probably not that high, to be honest, because it changes names so often. In this version, it's only 639. Train Sim World I won't trust because I'm actually in preview. But if I add up all the different versions... Let me just stop accelerating while I'm adding these up. So Train Sim World... I don't even have 2020 installed anymore. But I did have the original one and I had a couple of thousand hours in that. And then I had 2020 which had a couple of thousand hours in it, and there's... Actually, no, 2020 is here. So it's 1,500 hours in 2. It's 1,500 hours in 2020. Only 583 in 3, which is funny, because that's when I became an ambassador. You reckon I'd have more. And the hours for 4 I just don't trust, because I'm currently in what's called preview branch. So that's the hours for that, I assume, which is what I'm in to make content for the stuff that's coming out next week. In the public branch, I'll have more, but I can't switch to tell you what it is, because it will eat a lot of bandwidth to switch, because it downloads everything. And the stream would go... Bleh! Andy said, man, backing up kills me every time. I don't really have a hand for it. Plus, I don't own a truck driver's license. Especially only using the mirrors. I can back trains up, no problem at all. They just go wherever I want them to. But yeah, backing a truck is an art. It's very difficult. So I have great respect for the people who can do it, both in real life and in game. I don't know how realistic it is in the game because, you know, I don't have proper experience of it outside the game, but in game I'm not good at it. So I share your frustrations there, Andy. I usually in ATS I choose the simplest stop where you just pull into the yard and that's the consideration that you've stopped. Sometimes I'll try and back it up and then I'll just jackknife the thing and maneuver it back to its simple stop position and go, well, we just should have accepted simple stop the first time, let's go for it now. All good. As we cruise back towards the wonderful Somerford Up station. The up platform at Somerford station, I should say. Bad Guy says, Train Sim Classic is like that grumpy old man who sits on your lawn screaming at the clouds and doesn't want to do anything else. That's Train Sim Classic. Yep. Yep, that's about it. And he's probably got a shotgun and occasionally shoots it in the air, and that's when you get out of memory. Okay. It's not okay, but I'll press the okay button. I have to, you know, you realise the game's going to explode now, but I have to say that the out-of-memory things has gotten better since it was rebuilt. Has gotten better. If you install lots of workshop stuff, it still explodes sometimes because it hasn't got enough protection from workshop content. So I'm always a bit reluctant with workshop content. I tend to back up the folder before I put it in, because it can be difficult to go backwards sometimes. We'll let gravity slow us down as we head back towards the main line up here. Caleb asks, can US rolling stock and locomotives run in the UK or Australia? In the UK, definitely. They could, and in fact do sometimes. I have actually seen a US locomotive in the UK, and I've seen UK locos in the US. I think it's the Class 69 was tested in the US first, I think. I think it's the Class 69 I've seen coupled up to an SD70, and I have to say that was quite funny, because the 69 is big from British standards, but it's not in American standards. So it looked like a little baby locomotive coupled to the SD70. So yeah, they can. And in Australia, on our standard gauge lines, on the 4 foot 8.5, yes, they can. But in Victoria, we have 3 gauges. We have 2 foot 6 on the 2 heritage lines that still operate. We have 3 foot 6 on some other heritage lines that operate. I thought I was peeling off to the right for a moment there, and I thought, where's it going? That's okay. We have an against on the warning signal here, which is okay. And that's what fooled me last time into thinking that the one up there was my signal, but it's not. So I know that now. Let's just chug up the hill a little bit. And we have 4 foot 8.5, which is mostly for interstate traffic. So stuff going to New South Wales, South Australia, Perth, or Western Australia. And we have our broad gauge, which is 5 foot 3. And all of our electric trains are 5 foot 3. And most of our country passenger network is also 5 foot 3. So a bit about the positioning of this signal. It just looks like it's on my track, but it's not. It's on the other one. And I do have a green on the far one, so that's good. Just don't want to go full fang here because I have to stop. And it won't. Caleb asks, did you know the total length of an American truck and trailer is 73 feet? You should Google B-double and road train, Caleb. Google as B-double Australia and road train Australia. Because you won't see anything like those in the US. So if you like trucks, and you like big trucks, that's what you want. Caleb says backing up is pretty realistic in the game. That's cool. Hello, Anthony Trains 4472. Obviously a Scotsman fan. Welcome. Sorry I didn't see your message until now. Andy says, yeah, since the update, some workshop content can kill your TSC, but you know where to delete the corrupted scenario. It's not that bad. Yeah, it's worth getting to learn a thing called TS Tools, which can help you fix bad things. We're going to stop a bit early, I think. There we are. Sorry, lady. Got to move again. But don't mind. It'll still stop for you. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Stop! Oh. I reckon that's so close. I'll just give it one little chuff and I reckon it'll be fine. Now we'll break again. And it'll be just on the right spot. Or not. One chuff. Come on. One chuff. No, not 5. 1. Right, there we go. Lots of brakes. Lots and lots of brakes. All the brakes. Alright, let's get the doors open. Come on. Open the doors. I have stopped in the right place. Open the doors. You don't want to, do you? No. You're refusing to open the doors. Fine. Come backwards just a smidge. Right, and we'll brake again. Now we'll try it. No, you're just refusing. Alright, we're going to call that scenario done when clearly it's not, because, you know. Actually, let's back up a little bit more. Let's just see what happens. Just for whatever reason, I think it thinks the cars aren't in the platform. TSC's like this sometimes. TSW's like this sometimes. There we go. That's what it was. It just didn't think they were in the platform properly. Andy says, yes, and Septo, we talked about that. Andy says, sorry, Paul, I don't know how the rails are in feet. We have normal 1435, 1000 and 750. That's basically, yeah. So 2'6" would be, it's probably close to your 750, I would think. We are actually a metric country, so it's funny that we still use feet and inches. 2'6" in millimeters would be... You'd think I could just work this out. It's 762. There you go. And the other one you've got's meter gauge. I don't think we've got any meter gauge in this country. Not that I know of anyway. Maybe some weird little esoteric railways, industrial things. And 1435, that is 4 foot 8.5. So that is the standard gauge around the world. Which, interestingly, I believe is the width of an Irish dray. Which is where that came from. Isn't that weird? Caleb says, look up turnpike doubles. One is 53 and one is 45. Let's close the doors and people want to get in. There you go. You can get in. Go on. In you get. Right, now we're closing again. And this scenario is done. Come on. Mark it closed. I want this one ticked off. Come on. Come on, give me the tick. Come on. It took 500 points off me. For what? And I think it's refusing to finish, so we might just have to kill this like we did with the other one. We'll give it another couple of seconds. Andy says TS Tools is good, but he prefers Loco Swap. Very good program. You know, I've never heard of Loco Swap. Let's have a look. I can guess what it does. The Loco Swap tool. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it looks interesting. I was just, I found it in GitHub. Let's just chuck it in the chat. Bear in mind, you might be careful with stuff from open source. It's not going to finish the scenario, I don't think. So, well, actually, do you know, if I move again back to the 0, I reckon it might finish it. Let's just try it. Come on, you can stop now. No, you didn't quite get back to the 0, did you? Come on. Come on. Now, we'll see if it finishes it now, because it's at the 0. You going to do it? No, you're not. Okay. Fine. We'll just put up with you. And back to career mode. was an operational error. Ooh. A winter freight. And this one's supposed to be really hard. Take a short freight from Little Summerford to Malmsbury, shunt the train at Malmsbury, and return to Little Summerford with any outgoing wagons. Right. And then there's this one, siphons for scrap. Collect some stored siphons from Great Summerford, take them to Malmsbury to run around, and then return to Little Summersford. Well, that's another station. I reckon we should do that. Let's do that. Good morning, driver. We're going to collect some stored siphons, which are going to be scrapped at Swindon. We'll be using the brake third as our brake van for the trip. So we're using a passenger van as a brake van, as it will permit faster onward travel to Swindon for the later crew, as well as provide the necessary accommodation for the guard. When you have the road, head down to Kingsmead Crossing. Which way is Kingsmead? So we're at Little Summersford again. There's someone coming out of the yard there. Which way are we supposed to go? Round there. Okay. So we just have to wait here. That's fine. Let's get prepared, though. Brakes coming off. Oh, he's going for it. Ratter's spewing everywhere. Catching up with the chat. Andy says it's not that much in depth, but you can switch stock and delete scenarios from the files. That's cool. It's the kind of stuff you can do with TS Tools too, but TS Tools is a complex beast. It requires some learning generally. You know what? I am an idiot. I sent him the wrong way. Got another steam train coming. Off we go. Another Grange roaring past there. It looks like there's another one coming too. And Railway Through the Lens. Hello, how are you? Andy says the good thing in Loco Swap is you can swap stock without loading the scenario in TSC. You just have to watch how long the stock is that you swap, otherwise it might not work well. Yeah, if you go for something longer or shorter, it can basically explode. It's quite a substantial freight in UK terms, that one. Quite a bit. Railways Through the Lens says I might be interested in a recent video about Anzac at PBR. Kind of think I've seen it. I'll have a look at your channel after, but I kind of think I've seen it. There was a bit of behind the scenes railway action for Anzac. The current scout leaders managed to get them to run the same train that I used to run with the kids. They didn't use 861 though, they used an NA. I'm deliberately not speeding up because it's going to go down a fairly steep hill and we have to stop at the bottom of it. So we're just letting it cruise. Caleb says, have you seen Hogwarts Legacy and the train in that game? My son plays it on his PlayStation, but I have to say I haven't really paid that much attention to it. Yeah, when I was scout leader in Emerald, we used to run a train from Emerald down to Menzies Creek with the kids, which they would decorate in poppies, and we had scouts from all over the district on it. And I believe it actually happened this year, because a couple of the railway people made it happen instead of the scouty people. Now I assume we're going to be going up that part of the loop, because we're not going to Malmsbury. So I'm just trying to keep my speed down a bit. Back with the Smiley Dunny again. Yeah, strange though it sounds to say it usually is a good day. Not really a celebratory day, but it's a good day. Wants me to go a long way from the points, really, if we are going back up that way. I'm just going to stop here and see what it does. It'll either work or it won't. Yeah, works fine. Now, does it want me to change the points, or does it want to change the points? Because I assume we want to go around there for the next stop. Right now, of course, the loco driver's gas-bagging with the crossing man, because that's what happens. Great Somerford shunt. Throw the points to give access. Propel the train to Great Somerford. Very well. Let's go into the right key so we can actually do this. Where's the points lever? There it is. Alright then. Back we go. I'm going to get beamed by the carriage standing this close. But that's fine. Just missed my head. What I have always wondered about the panniers is that the fill point, this thing here? And is it open to atmosphere? Caleb says he would play TSW more if they had American Steam. That, I would suggest to you, will be up to third parties to accomplish. So, maybe get on to people like Mike Rennie or Gary from High Iron and see if you can coax them into building for TSW. I keep trying to get Stefan from New Zealand Transit Workshop to get into TSW, but he wants to wait for the tools to mature a bit. This is a nice little used track, properly overgrown with crap. I should probably start braking, shouldn't I? If we have to stop soon. Let's keep our speed under control a little bit. I would definitely like to have something like the Big Boy, Challenger, the FEF, the American Standard thing. They're all quite nice locomotives. Some big Hudsons, some Pacifics would be nice. Hudsons and Pacifics could be reworked into Australian locomotives relatively easily. So good from a modding perspective. Because I don't kid myself that there's enough people who actually play the game in Australia that we're likely to get Australian content unless there's an Australian producer willing to do it. I do know a guy that's building stuff for TSC and he's building stuff for Roblox. I know another one building stuff for Roblox. I know some people who build stuff for trains with Australian content. I'm just going to stop here before the points and figure out where our carriages actually are. Throw the points and uncouple the brake third in Great Somerford siding. Okay, it's a good thing I stopped before the points. Let's change cameras. Whee! Straight through the train, of course. And those points look like they're fine to me, actually. Or do we need to throw the ones up here? Yep, we do. Should trail through those quite happily, though. So that's a siphon, is it? Have to confess, I would have thought a siphon by its name was a tank, but, you know, that's okay. All right, let's get you out of the way. Like most steam engines, it's like a cat that you've grabbed its tail. It goes, whack, runs away. Now, it probably wants this all the way in here. But we probably don't want to couple it up. It's going to go bonk, I think. Is it going to bonk into the carriage? Yes, it is. But we stopped in time, so it's all good. Alright, let's uncouple that. Now couple your locomotive to the siphons. Very good. The machine rail stuff's a bit variable. Some of it's really good, some of it's not so good. I think it depends what the locos were based on that got adopted. So if you can coax some of the developers into building stuff. Am I too close to that? Because it's not letting me throw that switch. It might be too close. Yeah, it's trying to. There we go. You didn't have to go that far. That's going to give him a good wallop. Got a bit of distance to play with when it bonks the cars and moves them. Alright, let's couple that up if we can. Sometimes you can in TSC and sometimes you have to resort to the menu. It's going to be a menu day, I think. I can't find the hotspot. Jump in there and do it this way. No, I think... No, we've bounced off them. We're too far away from them. They moved when I hit them. Right, now we can do it. Now couple the brake van. Very good. That is fairly realistic that you open the regulator a little bit and close it again and it just takes off like that. That is quite steam-like. These look like they have brakes. I didn't see any hoses hook up, so we'll see if they really do or not in just a moment. And back to get the brake van. Quite nice having steam chest simulation, I can have to say, because you can just whip the regulator open and then close it again. Quite handy. Just have to watch how hard these hit so we don't derail the thing. Because I think it's up against the buffers at the other end. If you hit it too hard, it'll go boing! Right off into space. Let's go back on to 8. Shouldn't be too far off coupling, and we're not. If I brake there, we should be just about right. Oh, isn't that nice? Can I get the hotspot to couple? No, of course I can't. Let's get in there and couple that up. Clunk. Now head down to the runaround. Very good. course, normally do an inspection and check your brakes and make sure it's all going to work. That's okay. Hey Michael, welcome back. Caleb says I deleted all the workshop content from TSC. Well, unsubscribed. Yeah, that's not always enough if you get a problem. Sometimes you actually have to go and find the miscreant files and actually get rid of them, which is a bit of a challenge if you don't know your way around the game. It can actually be quite hard to get rid of it. If you ever get stuck though, if you ever get into a situation where some workshop content has wrecked the game, do a bit of Googling, because you will find steps for how to get rid of it and clear your cache and things like that. If that sort of basic stuff doesn't work, just get onto support, because there's a guy there named Steve who will very happily help you out, and he's very good at diagnosing that sort of crap. He is a very calm and patient soul. It occurred to me it's actually really cold in this room this morning, and it's a nice sunny day, which means my solar panel should be producing plenty of power. So let's go with the big heater. It's bloody freezing in here. Oh, we're actually going all the way to Malmsbury. Okay then. Let's get some juice on. Caleb says you haven't reinstalled TSC yet. Even if you uninstall it, it leaves things behind sometimes that break it when you reinstall it, which is kind of annoying. So by all means, chuck it back in and see if it runs. But if it doesn't, then clear the cache first, even if it's a fresh install. See how you go with that. And if that doesn't work, then if you're happy to play with the tools, then you can either play with TS Tools or Loco Swap and try and get rid of the bad data. And if that doesn't work, or you're not happy to play with that, then you can get on and just jump on support, and Steve will be able to help you out. What's that grass crop over there? That just looks really nice. TSC's just looking nice on this route. It really is. It's amazing what you can do with this. This is such an old engine. Because if you don't know, it actually dates back to the Kuju days. It's got inherited pieces from MSTS. And it still looks good. But anyway, Brad MacArthur says, "Morning, Paul. I've been lurking for a while, and I agree with you. It's cold in Melbourne this morning." Yes, it is. Yeah, normally my gas heating can keep up with it, but not today. So I've just put on the Monster 8.5 kilowatt electric heater. That'll do it. That'll warm it up in here. But that doesn't warm up the rest of the house, of course. It'll only warm up in here. Look at me behaving myself and actually doing the right speed. Isn't that so weird? It was pretty cold last night on Puffing Billy, I have to say. I think it was officially 4 degrees, but with wind chill it was probably below 0. And I had my super thermos cup, and me being me at Lakeside, I just hopped out and made myself a cup of tea and let myself into the station. You know, it's useful to be a volunteer there, because they have keys. It's something you learn when you work on the locos. Just a simple black tea, and most of the time not even any sugar in it, is just really good for keeping you warm and for hydration. for the Melbourneites, we should have 3 locomotives again at Puff within the month. So 7 is in the paint shop at Emerald. Are you missing a bit of variety there, Railway Through the Lens? I have no idea what colour she's going to come out, because she was in primer last time I saw her, and she had a mix of colours. She had brown and green and red, so there's obviously bits from many locomotives on her at the moment, which is the way of steam locomotives. Anything that can move to get a job out quicker will. I would actually love to see her come out in green, I really would. I know 6 is supposed to be green, but we're not going to see 6 for a long time, I don't think. So, it'd be good. I have heard some mumblings about G42 as well. The official plan, last I heard it, was that the G wouldn't come out of the museum until the NGG was within a year of its D exam. But the NGG's been so finicky lately that I've heard some mumblings about getting the G out early. But of course that requires them to find about $4 million, which is going to require a grant. Because there's not a chance in hell they could do it on their own at the moment. I could chuff up to Emerald and ask. Or just stick my head in the shed. I've got a code for that shed, so I could kill the alarm in there. Go have a look. But that might be a little bit beyond the sneakiness level that I'd get away with. Besides, they'd probably still be sanding her this week. There's a lot of cleaning and sanding to be done before the coats go on. They're all hand painted, by the way. It's a special kind of enamel paint that handles heat very well. Caleb would love to ride in the cab of a locomotive. I do it all the time. It's good fun. Definitely fun, so yeah, if you get the chance to, absolutely do it. And I have to say, it never hurts to let a crew know that you're interested. Never outright ask. Don't walk up to a locomotive and go, "Hi, I'm Caleb, can I have a cab ride?" Don't ever do that. You've got to be subtle about these things. You go up there and you go, "I'm really interested in this locomotive. Can you tell me a little bit more about it? Would you mind if I had a bit of a look around in the cab?" Because that will probably get you in the door of the cab, and if you show some interest, and either the fireman or the driver will probably be fairly happy to explain things to you. And this really only applies on volunteer run railways, by the way. On commercially run ones it doesn't tend to work. But on volunteer ones, once you're in there, they might just say, "Do you want to come for a ride?" And then the giant shit-eating grin that starts on your front of your face and ends around the back of your head usually tells them the answer. It's a bit like we took our engine cleaner out last Saturday for a run, and I said, just watch me fire on the way to Lakeside, and I'll talk you through what I'm doing. And when we got to Lakeside, I said, "Would you like to fire us out of Lakeside?" I prepared the fire, I got it ready for him so the engine was nice and hot to give him a fighting chance. Because your first time round, if you don't know you need to get the engine hot 15 minutes before you're going to depart, you're screwed, and you'll have a bad time. Because there's just bits of knowledge that you just need to know. Things like that. And I said, do you want to fire us out of Lakeside? And I didn't get a verbal answer. I just got this massive grin. And I mentioned to my driver, Graham, and I said, I think that giant grin means yes, and I think it means get out of my way. So he fired out of Lakeside, and I told him where to put the coal, because, you know, it's early days. You need to be you need to get told where to put it, because you can't be expected to know those things. And he did such a good job firing out of Lakeside, getting us up the hill into Emerald, that I said, do you just want to fire all the way home? And again, I got the massive grin, but at least that time he said yes. And for his first time, he did pretty well. Most of the time he put the coal where I was telling him to put it, which is actually no mean feat. It might sound easy to put coal in the right place in a firebox, but when your whole train's doing this, so your firebox door, which is only this big, is moving like this, it's actually really hard, and he did really well. Did an awesome job. So he got to fire all the way back, which, needless to say, made him massively happy. I'm just going to assume all the points are set right into the yard. We have the signal. If you're wondering where you're seeing the brakes go full on and then off again, it's actually something I saw on Bluebell Railway, and then I saw it again on the North Yorkshire Moors, where they use the steam brake. So it's a combination brake handle, vacuum brake and steam brake, but they basically apply the thing hard on, and it's not long enough for the vacuum brake to really change, but it applies the steam brake on the locomotive really hard, so it slows them down quite a lot. And they can just go on and off, on and off, on and off, in a way that you can't possibly do with air brakes. And he said, well, to ask for a ride is a no-go. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you ask, the answer's always going to be no. Because, you know, people are like that. It's a railway tradition, I guess. It's a mean tradition, but it's a tradition. Caleb said, on a class run railway, they tell me to get screwed. But they might not, if you're interested. Even on a class 1, which is American, is a mainline, like a mainline railway for people who don't know. Or railroad, I should say. Although a lot of them are railways, which is interesting. They have different restrictions because they're commercial operations, and they'll have all sorts of rules and regulations about members of the public riding in the cab. But I think you'll find even on them, their rules don't necessarily stop them, because normally the driver, or engineer in American case, has a lot of discretion. So depending on what they're doing, if they're running around in a yard, or if they're going down a branch line or something, they actually might let you ride. I know here, the line near me, the Stony Point line, I used to get to drive that occasionally, and it was just because I was there from time to time. And eventually the guy that ran the loco hold service, this is before it got changed to sprinters, just one day he said, do you want to have a cab ride? And it just progressed from there. I had a few cab rides, and he goes, do you know how to drive? And I was like, yeah, kind of. Do you want to do it? Yeah. So, you know, things just progress. Now a couple of train, run around, and a couple to the other end. Remember to do not pass the stop board at the station throat, and throw any points as required. Alright, well, let's uncouple first. And then I think we need to throw these points. Oops, let's go back onto the 8 camera instead of misusing the 2 again. There's a big sneeze came from upstairs. I don't know if that came through the microphone. You'd have to be proud of yourself if you did that sneeze. Andy says we have some historic rail museums when you can pay a few bucks and ride in a cab. This is going to run into the buffers really hard, and we're not going to watch. Bonk. We are going to watch. More arse than class. How close did we get? I need to know. Ooh, we touched them, but we didn't actually trigger them to bounce us into the air. That's good. Let's set some points. That one's fine. And let's set this one. Here it comes. Look at that. One woof on the regulator. It's already doing 12 miles an hour. One woof. And he says, we have some historic rail museums. You can pay a few bucks to ride in a cab. I think I still go. Yeah, there's quite a few that do that. We used to have a driver experience thing. I think it will probably come back. It was COVID that killed that. But my gut feel is it will return, which will be nice. They won't do it until they've got more locomotives, though. Because you need to be able to spare a locomotive for a day to run the driver experience. Because you can't let them loose on a service train for obvious reasons. Railways through the lenses, especially on a K-class when the footplate moves. Yes, you have to be pretty careful in a locomotive, actually. The joint between a tender and a locomotive is a plate that slides around on the floor of the locomotive. Might be the loco slides around on the tender, or the tender slides around on the loco. It varies a little bit which way it goes. But you've got to be a bit careful you don't get your foot trapped in there. Let's not make the mistake we made last time. And we should be fine up there. Can't move yet. Got a red bar. Wait for the red bar to run out. There we go. Back into Malmsbury platform. Just want to check which way around my loco is. It will be reverse. And back we go. Let's just bring you under control here before you get up there and smash into the train. That's a bit more of a state speed. It's good. Railways used to do that at Newport's a lot of fun. One of the things I did, which railway was it? Bluebell. On Bluebell Railway, you know those doors on the side of the steam locos, like in the game, on the Fowler's got them, but on the Fowler it wouldn't matter because that's not a tender loco. But on the 6 and the 8, those doors can actually crush your feet if you've got your feet under them, because as you're going over track and the loco's doing this, the doors go up and down in relation to the floor, and you can get trapped under them. So even though I was wearing appropriate boots, I was heavily warned to be careful of the doors and keep away from them. And if you're standing next to the doors, you keep your feet parallel with the door to reduce the opportunity of getting stuck under it. Up we go. Let's aim for a nice gentle one. And brakes on. Oh, look at that. Can I couple it? Can. Excellent. Now uncouple the brake third, pull it back to Malmsbury runaround, then push it back down into the head shunt through the loop road. Okay. Can uncouple that the easy way, I'm afraid. I cannot. It might mean I need to push them together. Oops, come here. Stop. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oi! I love it when the camera just gets a mind of its own sometimes and it goes, nah, I'm buggering off on you. There we go, I can uncouple it there. Into the Malmsbury runaround. So where's that? It's centre on us. Let's go into the Malmsbury runaround. So we're going to have to go past that signal, aren't we? Okay, that's fine. And if you're wondering why I haven't been opening the cylinder cocks in all of this shunting, you really don't need to if your engine's hot. Caleb says after 9/11 it's almost impossible. Yeah, a lot of things in the US did tighten up, probably unnecessarily, because, you know, running a train into a building isn't nearly as effective as running a plane into one. Finn says, is the July roadmap out on Tuesday? What date is it? It'd be possible. I haven't actually seen any mention, but it would be possible because it's the right time of the month for it. So we'll see. There's not a lot going on at the moment that they're talking about because, of course, we're approaching the summer release, you know, the big set of fruits that they always do every year. And it's always a bit quiet before that because they're working on them. So I wouldn't expect too much in the July roadmap if I were you. So there's a stop board here, which to me means you should stop. So do you stop and then go past? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop and then I'm going to go past it. Because I just think that's the right thing to do. But does that mean the game's now confused? I don't know. There's enough room for me to go around the loop, so that's fine. And let's go up here. And I think they should still be set. They are still set, so that's fine. This is quite a complex bit of shunting for TSC. Oops, sorry I'm moving around too quickly. That must look awful. Just stand here in the station master's garden and watch this go back. You know, that's a very popular saying there, Ben, but I actually disagree with you, and that's not because I'm ambassador, I just disagree with you. Because you do basically get free routes for the price of 1.5. And the only element of it that anybody could claim is a cash grab is the fact that you need to have it to have new DLC. So people just got used to the way Train Sim Classic was done, that's all. Every other game, when it releases a major update like that, it's paid. They're never free. Actually, I shouldn't say never. Let me change that to rarely free. Squeeze this thing back into the head shunt a little more. Ooh. I think that was very close to derailing, and this little short locomotive does not like being on the end of this long coach in tight corners. That's the undoing of many a model railway, as people assume that they can manoeuvre a long coach and a short engine together. Was that enough? No, that's not enough. Okay. A little bit more then. Alright, there we go. That should be enough. Uncouple that. Run round back to the front of the train. Yay! Predictable. Off you go, little locomotive. We're going to stay here, though, because we're just going to set these points once he's through. Well, we'll see, Vin. Andy said, Paul, did you already test this Train Planet game? Yeah, I did. Did I stream it or did I just do a video on it? I'm actually not sure. From memory. Might have just done a video. Might not have streamed it. pretty sure I do. Anyway, let's just check Steam, because let me see if I've got play hours in it. Where is it? Where is it? No, I've uninstalled it. But I did actually have a play with it, yes. I wasn't that impressed. It's very much like Train Sim Classic. So it's not the TSW killer that people keep saying it is. There are certainly some games out there that are very similar to TSW and would have the opportunity to take some market. Oh, you want to go a bit further, do you? Alright, we'll change these points while we're here, because we're going to need to anyway. Let's get the brakes on so we don't run past the stop board, because we must be bloody close to doing that. We are very close to doing that. We didn't, so it's good. At least I don't think we did. No, we're sweet. And I've changed the points to go back into the station platform already, which I shouldn't really do in TSC. It can lead to bad things happening when you get in front of the scenario. But this one's happy. Back we go. Finn says, hoping the TSW series doesn't become an annual upgrade. Wait and see. Their pattern is an annual feature upgrade. And they always bring in some new stuff. And they tend to bring in stuff from the top 10 of the survey items that survey's done each year. So when the survey comes out, you definitely want to get involved in that survey because it sets the future of the game. They'll generally pick a few things from the top 10. Things that are achievable and would actually promote sales. And naturally enough, they keep it to themselves what they're working on because they want us to have an enjoyable surprise rather than knowing what's coming, which I think is cool. And even though I don't actually know what's coming at the moment because I haven't been doing a lot of beta because there's been stuff coming out since I came home from holidays that I need to make content for. Because I make a lot of tutorials for the games. Alright, bonk those together. And I'm sure it's going to want me to push those back into the brake fan. But let's just get these coupled up if we can before they roll too far apart. Now push back and couple to the brake third. We've already set those points. Now this is going to have to be a bit of a gentle one. Because that brake fan's pretty close to touching the buffers, so if we were to hit it hard, it would be messy, shall we say. It would probably launch the poor thing. I don't think it's hard up against the buffers. So this speed should be okay. I see your question, Caleb. I'll answer it when I get this coupling done. Alright, brakes on. Nice and gentle. Lovely. That's what we want to see. Can we couple it? We can couple it. Lovely. Now it's time to head back to Little Summerford. We'll be stopping at Kingsmead Crossing to throw the points to give us access. I kind of think I did that before, but yeah, okay. Get the reverser to full forward. Oh look, there's a pasty on the hob. I could go with a pasty. Do I have to say, out of all the foods I ate in Britain, the Cornish pasty was the thing I was actually most looking forward to, was having a proper Cornish pasty, and I was not disappointed. When I found a place that did a proper one, I was very happy. They are really good. Caleb says, I often want to run American stock on UK routes on TSC now that I know it's realistic but not prototypical. Oh, you certainly can. There's more and more stuff spreading around the world. As the, particularly Europe and UK, there's a lot of stuff from UK that's running in Europe now. And there's stuff from Europe running in the UK thanks to the Channel Tunnel. There's where UK locos get built in America, they do get tested in America first before they get sent over. So you will see them out and about, but mostly on test tracks, but you'll probably see some proper service runs with them as well, because, you know, they need to know they're actually going to work and pull a proper train. So you can certainly do it. Why not? Have some fun. It's a game. Do whatever you want. Caleb says, I want Railroader and Simrail and Run 8. Railroader is very, very good. I very much enjoy a Railroader. I've actually deliberately not run it since I came back from holidays, because I had that month break and it broke the addiction, because I did get quite addicted to that game. I was only playing that to the detriment of everything else. And it just eats the hours, because it's fairly realistic in the time frames that stuff happens. So it's like a real railway. It eats time, and it's just the way it is. But I will probably pick it up again at some point, because it is an excellent game. But there's a few other things coming out in I predict anyway, the next few months from other game builders, so I want to be free and clear for those. I don't want to be stuck in Railroader, so I'm probably going to leave it probably until my end of year work break, and then I'll pick Railroader up again while I'm on holidays and spend a few days in it probably, and we'll see what happens. Can I pick up speed yet? Yes, I can. And my thoughts on making TSC or TSW multiplayer. It would be very good. I like the idea of multiplayer, even in a limited multiplayer like co-op. So if one person could be the driver and one person could be the guard, for example, I think that would be really good. Or possibly even new roles, like station dispatcher and things like that would be really good. Because for those who don't know, in the UK, the larger stations have what are called dispatchers, or as I uncharitably call them, paddle boys. British Ace is one. He's a platform dispatcher, and basically what they do is they're the ones that govern when the train's ready to go. So they'll get a signal from the crew that says they're fine, and then when the signalman is ready, they'll do a key switch on the platform which tells the signal they're going to go, so the signaller releases the signals and puts them off. If you're wondering, in signals, off means green, on means red, generally. And then they take off, and they observe while the train's going out to make sure there's no one running up to the train or anything like that. No one's going to get hurt, and they'll stop it if necessary. So that sort of role in TSW on the UK routes would be pretty cool. I think German trains have a similar concept in their big stations too. We do it in Australia, but only in our really big terminus stations. The little ones don't have them. And in Australia, it's more of a customer service or fare enforcement role than a train dispatch role, although sometimes train dispatch is included in it. So things like that I think would be really good. I don't think we'll ever see TSW as a true free-for-all multiplayer. There's a way of doing it, I think, but I don't know that the game could actually cope. So free roam does open the door to being able to put additional players in. I could see how it could work, but I can also see a lot of things that really stand in its way in a big way that would make it problematic, and I don't know that the dispatcher could cope with multiple first-person players. I think it would probably explode. Vin was, how was my experience with motor volume when testing the 380? I can't really tell you much about it, Vin, because I have an embargo. I'm not allowed to release any content on it until 10 a.m. BST on Wednesday, I think, from memory. After that, I'll live stream it. And I'll release a lot of content that I've been making for it, which I'm putting together this afternoon. And actually, it won't be this afternoon. I've got to go to my Outlaws. But put it together soon. I've recorded it all. I've just got to put it together. But what I will tell you is that the 380 is very similar to the 700 in the sounds it makes, and both in the cab, which I have been in, just quietly, and in the passenger space, I reckon they've nailed it. And the people who bullied them into turning the 700 up and making it louder and making the car alarm / UFO noise happen all the time, they are wrong. It does not make that noise all the time. It only makes that noise when it accelerates, and you can barely hear it in the loco cabin in the passenger space. You can really only hear it outside. So I think the people that bullied him into it are not people that ride in that train or drive that train. They were just taking their outside experience and taking their experience from YouTube videos, which have largely recorded outside, because rail fans, face it, rail fans like looking at trains, they rarely get in them. And that was just wrong. So it should not be as loud as it is in a 700. It's just plain wrong. So I hope that does not happen with the 380, because I reckon the 380's been nailed. And there was a opportunity that I'm not going to reveal where or when, because that would get people in trouble, but there was a 380 on test that I did get an opportunity to ride when I was on holidays in the UK. So no more about where or when that might have been, because I don't want to get people in trouble, because I probably shouldn't have been in there. So I reckon they've nailed it. I'll say that much. Rails of Illinois says, why do American signals remain green until the Atria train knocks the light down? They usually knock them down as a sensor. There's no sensor on signals. Well, it's not quite true. But yes, the signalling system will detect the train based on track occupancy detectors. And the signalling system will normally put the train back to on, or put the signal back to on, which means it's red, once the first part of the train goes past it. It's a bit variable how much of the train will go past it before it changes. And there are some railways where it actually stays green until the whole train's past it. I don't think there's any in America that do that. I know in Canada there is. We have to stop up here. That's a nice water down there. We might be going to stop a little bit early, but that's probably okay. No, we're just going to keep sliding along a little bit, I think. Maybe. Give it some power. Go on, off you go. You've done it now. Fireman can go for a walk and change the points. Judging by all the steam that came out of the cocks then, it actually does have steam jets. That tends to back that theory up. Now, I'm not going to change these points until the red bar stops. There we go. Stop in the up platform where the relief crew will take over. Back to the loco we go. Cocks are open. We're in full forward gear. We won't give it too much, because we've just got enough to climb the hill and get up into the platform. Caleb is playing ATS right now. Cool. Finn says, plus with multiplayer in TSW, there would inevitably be griefers. Yeah, look, I've played multiplayer in trains quite a bit, and I have to say it did vastly amuse me to do things like run Thomas the Tank Engine with Annie and Clarabelle on American main lines. And then you'd see someone come screaming up behind you at 100 mile an hour, and you're doing 10. And they get stuck behind you at signals. It's just fun. And they invariably hate on you for doing it. But you know, could be a Thomas Day. Could be happening. Lots of railways do it. Why not? Nothing wrong with a good Thomas Day. But yes, people will do dumb things in multiplayer. It's just the way of it. But way most games that have multiplayer control that is they let people run their own server. So there might be a corporate server where it'll be moderated by corporate players. A little bit like the official channels have YouTube moderators, for example. Similar sort of idea. And private players tend to run their own servers and make their own rules. In Run 8, there's a big variance. So there's Run 8 servers that are very casual. You can do pretty much whatever you want, drive whatever you want, drive wherever you want. And the dispatcher will work with you to get you to where you want to go. But there are other ones that are so rigid, they run to a working timetable for a particular day, and you can't do anything that's not on that working timetable. You can take one of those services and run it, but you have to negotiate it all with the dispatcher before you start. And if you try and do anything else, they'll just delete your train. So, yeah, there's ways of running multiplayer so that it can work. It's a little bit like multiplayer in Flight Simulator. It's similar. You can play on a server that's very free and easy, and you can go and take your 747 and land it at a little airport, or take little planes and land them at somewhere like JFK and do things like that and get away with it. And then there's other ones where they operate extremely prototypically and you just wouldn't be allowed to do it. You'd ask for landing clearance and they'll just say no, and if you do it, they'll delete your plane. So there's huge variance in multiplayer. I'd like to see it in the game. I think it'd be good. I personally think that if Dovetail ever do it, I kind of think it would be a different franchise. I don't think it would actually be in one of their current games. I think if they did it, they'd do a different one. Sort of feel that way. Because that way they've got complete freedom to design the game from the ground up to be multiplayer. Because if you try and shoehorn multiplayer in, I think you're going to have a hard time of it. I think you need to design it from the ground up. And there's one coming out which is multiplayer, that's Century of Steam. And they have been designing from the ground up with multiplayer. That's financed by a YouTuber, funnily enough, and promoted. And the people who are building it, very clever. They're doing some good stuff. And I'm pleased to say they're dumbing down some aspects of the game for normal players, because it's being made for real railway people who really know their shit. And normal players would get very lost in that world really quickly, just like they do on the really strict Run 8 servers. If you don't run the train prototypically, yeah, it is Heist. I wasn't going to mention him. But time for a cuppa and a snooze. Very good. Yeah, we actually finished one, although it says scenario incomplete. Whatever. I got an invalid consist. I don't think so, really. But that's TSC for you. Were there any left that we were going to run? What time is it? 10:55. Oops. Oh, look, why don't we run the winter freight? Because I'm not going to do all the shunting one, because that'll just drive people crazy. Oh, and this one shunt the train. And return to Little Summer for any outgoing wagons. This one starts at 1,000 points. Yeah, I know what's going to happen when I start running this, but that's okay. Michael says, actually, rails, as soon as loco passes the signal, it goes red. Not always. With most automatic signalling, it will. But with manual signalling, they'll often keep the signal at green because it's actually controlled by the signalman in the box because it keeps the points locked. Once you have the road, take the train to Malmsbury and uncouple the brake van at the specified location. Remember, the brake van, not the locomotive, must be at the specified location for uncoupling. Very good. What have we got? Let's have a look. We do have the road. We have ourselves a nice little freight train. Forward gear. Probably the cock's open because it's winter. And we don't know how long we've been standing at this signal. Bring the reverser back into the high 20s, which this loco seems to like. And we're a freight train, so there's no need to go at the line speed because they don't. Now, I don't know which way it's going to take us, whether we're going into the platform or not. The signal suggests not, but I don't know if that's prototypical. Yeah, it would appear to be not, so that's good. We're going down the main line. Rail says they used to do that in the UK. So in manual controlled signalling, generally the signal will stay green unless it does have a magnetic detector on it, even after the train passes it. There's a big Grange heading out there. Why don't we sit here and watch that for a little while? He's trying to head out anyway. He's having some trouble, the big AI Grange. In fact, he's not animating. Oh, there he goes. He's trying not to slip, I think. He's got a very big train and his little winter departure. Oh, well, we better go pay attention to ours or we're going to crash. Much as that would be fun, we do have a green up there just after the footbridge. Cruising over to the other track shortly. Rail says on Peninsula Corridor in real life the signals turn red once half the train knocks them down, but the TSW version doesn't know how they work. Remember where I used to live, Rails? I used to ride that train a lot. They go red when the loco goes past. At least they did when I lived there. Whether they still do that with the new signalling system, I don't know. Because I haven't seen the new one. I haven't seen the upgrade that was done as part of the electrical upgrade. But the what they were when the diesels ran, so in the game era, they definitely went red as the loco went through them. The only exception to that are the manually controlled signals at both San Francisco and at the other end of the line at San Jose. Cruising through the crossover here at an appropriate freight speed so that you don't damage all the stuff you've got in there. Coming off the points, so we can afford to pick up a bit of speed, close our cocks. Finn says with high-speed trains, how do you know to brake when no HUD? Route knowledge. You have to learn the route. So to give you an example, on my railway, I have done literally thousands of trips between Belgrave and Lakeside. Belgrave and Gembrook, probably not as many. It's probably 1,000. And I know the route backwards. People, because particularly since I've done track work, people can show me a rock or a particular tree on the railway, and I usually know where it is. And I can usually tell them where it is. So you do learn your route a lot. Drivers operate over specific sections of track generally. So they have specific route knowledge. It's like this route. The more I play it, the more I'm learning it. I could probably turn the HUD off now and drive this route quite successfully. So it's all about learning it. Yeah, I think Canadian practice is pretty similar to the US practice with signalling. I know not all railway practices in Canada are actually identical to the US. There are some things that are different, particularly in the French part of the universe. Gently pick up a bit of speed now and run for a couple of miles. Is this water frozen in winter? That's what we all need to know. No, it doesn't look like it. It's pretty cool though. That'd make a nice screenshot there, wouldn't it? I reckon that's cool. So we'll have one. I could see that becoming a thumbnail in the future. This is nice. Just little touches like this with some barrels and crap stacked up. So this is the kind of thing I'd like to see on the modern routes, where there's some barrels and some sleepers, some bits and pieces standing by. Because real railways are like this. They have bits and pieces of rolling stock equipment, or sorry, train equipment, all over the place. Farmer with his Land Rover, checking his watch. Here's another cool screenshot. This route's full of cool screenshots. So we head on our way for the last time today towards Malmsbury. Finn says, I've done the E2G so many times, I'm still reliant on checking my HUD to see when I'm 0.8 miles away from the next station. Yeah, that's because you're making yourself reliant on your HUD. And it's fine to play that way. I often do play, so in TSW I use the track monitor, which tells me everything I need to know. When I'm streaming, I leave the rest of the HUD turned on. But when I'm playing on my own, I often turn the rest of it off, and I just use the track monitor. When I'm being particularly wanting to be prototypical, I also turn off the next signal aspect in the track monitor, so I know they're coming, but I don't know what aspect they are until I can actually see them. Because that's the more prototypical way to drive, because when you see a yellow coming up in the track monitor, you're more inclined to slow down. It's a bit like this game. It shows you that the signals are coming up, but it doesn't tell you what their aspect is. So you have to rely on seeing them, which means you need to drive to the conditions. So now, for example, I'm a mile out of Malmsbury. I'll stop accelerating, and I'll start slowing down soon. And I'm letting gravity do its thing at the moment. And I'm actually going to start braking this far out because it's winter time and I know that this is a little used branch line, so the tracks are going to be icy. So I need to start braking this far out so that I'm already doing the right speed when I come into the station, because I can't rely on slowing down quickly when I get there. There's an ex-railway van down there with the cows. Good to see. That's realistic. in these sorts of conditions, you might even do this, where you actually come into full forward reverse and just give it a little notch on the throttle and let the locomotive start to slow you down. That's not unheard of practice. So sometimes I play HUD free and sometimes I play with the HUD turned on. When I'm streaming, I nearly always have it on, just so people can see what's going on. But you may remember some of the challenges. British Ace and I did a challenge a while back of running the Huddersfield backwards. So driving it from the rear cab of the train. So you couldn't see what was coming up. You just had to remember it. It's a bit of a dull and dark day, isn't it? Got to be careful about speeding up now because we're on the flat. Sounds like my fireman's put his injector on finally. Hello, the WNCRR. Welcome to the channel. I don't think I've seen you before. What are my opinions on Railroader? It is an awesome game. It's really, really, really good. Its only downside is that the way it works, which is fairly prototypical, and you have the missions and you need to make sure that you're actually getting your day's work done in a day and things like that, it means that you spend a lot of hours in it. So it's quite addictive. It's not something you can run for a couple of hours and then walk away from. You actually need to spend a working day in it effectively. So yeah, expect some long sessions. And I suppose you could spin a day out over a couple of weeks and run a couple of hours here, a couple of hours there. But if you did that, you'd probably have to document where you're at and what's left to do for each day so that you didn't get yourself in a bit of a mess when you came back to it. People are welcome to watch from the shadows and welcome to comment as well. So I think as far as games go, it's really good. It's a bit of a spin-off from Railroads Online, in much the same way that Century of Steam is a bit of a spin-off from Railroads Online as well. By spin-off, I mean people who didn't quite like the way the other game was working, who left and go out to make their own. I know I'm being particularly slow here, but I'm just concerned it's going to be slippery. You run big sessions split over 3 or 4 days. It'll be easier once we get some of the modded power done. Yeah, you can make it go time-wise. You can't really make it go much quicker, although you can run the fast clock, and I do. I run my clock 2 to 1. And you see, you're moving 120 cars from each interchange a day. We had to grow your interchanges with track edits to handle it all. There are yards that you can build near the interchanges to cope with the additional traffic, and you just move everything out before the interchange is served again, and then do all your interchange work in that next yard up. You can certainly do that. I haven't bothered building the Dillsbury yard though. I just bring it all up into Silver and play with it there. No, it's the default sound set for the Loco. I'm not actually a huge fan of Steam Sound Supreme. They sell themselves up very well, but their transitions at low speeds, their sounds are nice, but at transitions, they don't maintain a sync with the locomotive. Railroad is a good example of a game that does, and that's fairly recent. So that was only a couple of months ago that they brought that upgrade in, that everything runs correctly. And I think we're at... Where does this brake van want to stop? There, okay. Let's just give it a bit of oomph. So we want to stop with the brake van before these points, apparently, which probably means... Oh, yes, there's a car in the head shunt. Okay. They're just making it a bit more challenging. It's certainly getting dark, isn't it? 11 in the morning and it's dark. It's a bleak, wintry day. Yeah, oops, I was sitting in the shed. So we need to stop with the brake van fully clear of these points so that we've got room, because we can't use the whole head shunt. I've actually been surprised throughout today at just how good this little branch line actually is. It's a lot better than I was expecting it to be. Alright, let's stop there and go and uncouple our brake fan. And have you recognised it? Are you going to recognise it? Will I just move on? Probably. I don't think it's actually recognised I've done the uncoupling, so we will... There's plenty of room there, so we'll just run the scenario as though it is, because I know what it wants me to do anyway, even if it doesn't recognise it. Welcome to the wonderful world of TSC. So as soon as we're clear of these points, just come to a stop again. Yeah, it definitely hasn't recognised that I uncoupled that van in the right place. That's okay. Can we throw these yet? Not yet. TSC's usually fairly generous about when you can. There we go. We can do that now. I know the back of the train was still moving then, but the front wasn't. I'm going to start pushing back. Is there anything down in that yard? No, it's empty. Good. And let's have a look at what the scenario wants. So we'll do its things. So we want to get rid of 1, 2, 3, 4 cars. And then we want to put 3 cars in the covered goods. And let's just have a look. Look at the numbers. So 639, that's one of them. 533, or 633 rather. I was reading it as a 5, but it's actually a 6. Oh, back you go. And 084, yes. And 008, so they've been nice to us. They're in the right order, so that's good. Let's just get rid of the unsightly arrow. Yeah, a little bit of switching in the 3/4 dark. It's possible I came a little too far ahead with that brake van, which is why the scenario didn't recognise it. It did emphasise how important it was, but I put it in a place that it was clear of the other track and not foul, so in real life that would be more than good enough. A few little chuffs. The scenario's not going to recognise what we're doing, but that's fine. We'll just keep doing what we're supposed to do. Just pop these cars down near the shed, which is yet another X-Rail car. That'll about do there. Let's pop the brakes on. Once they stop moving, let's uncouple. And we're going to draw those three forwards. So we're dropping, yes, we're putting all three in the shed. They're the back ones, and then those three go into the shed there. And then we're going to go get some other ones. Okay. There's probably not a lot of good sheds left like this except on the heritage railways. They're not really a concept that's used anymore. These days, if there is a shed, it tends to be one that's massive that can accept an entire trains consist. I have to say this is fairly realistic at using the regulator when the cylinder cocks are open, because it's not building up steam chest pressure, so it's not running away like a startled rabbit. Pull these ones into the shed. Once the loco comes out the other end so I can uncouple it, we'll drop these there. That'll be about right. None of this will get recognised, of course, but that's fine. Uncouple those. Now, what does it want us to do next? So we're going to go to couple to the front of 5729, which is the one down in the head shunt. So we'll go and get that. What does it want us to do after we've gone and got that one? Yeah, see, I was 2 feet off. Well, not 2 feet, but it wanted to be there. So that's why we didn't pick that up. If I actually pushed that up there now, it would probably recognise it, and then it would recognise the Marshall steps as well. But I couldn't be bothered. So we're going to go up there and get the one in the head shunt. We want to take that through the runaround behind us, couple it to the brake van, and take them up to Summerford. So that'll be it. We want to go to the Summerford cattle dock. Now, we may not be able to do that because the scenario may not recognise it, but we'll try. But we can do. It'll depend whether the signals let us through there or not. So just being tidy, I will actually row those points if it'll let me. And let's race up here and just check these points. How are these set? They're the wrong way, so let's just flip them over. If I can, come on. There we go. And are you touching the buffers? Not quite. So if I bump it, it'll be okay. It won't launch into space. When you're pushing into a carriage, if you hit them too hard and they're actually already hard up against the buffers, the springs go poof and they throw you. And it might just push your locomotive back, but it might also launch the carriage into space because the physics engine isn't amazing. This engine's much easier to manage with the cylinder cocks open, I have to say. Well, that's a bit mental. You don't need to go that hard. That's what we want. About that speed. No, not that speed. That's stopped. Come on. Come on. Come on. You know you want to. That'll do. That's a good speed. 1 mile an hour is an excellent speed for this sort of hit. You're not going to stay doing 1 mile an hour, are you? Feels like I've got the brakes a little bit on, but I don't think I do. Should be able to couple these up in a moment. Nice gentle hit. There we go. And no hot spot, so we'll do it this way. And then we will change these points so we can go through the runaround. And we'll start that happening. Just go up and set our points correctly. Those ones are not quite right, so let's fix them. And then race up here, and we'll want to change these ones. And those ones should already be set, and we want to make sure we stop in the stopping marker. Very good. Come on back, little train. Come on back. Yes, switching has done the predictable thing to my view count. Some people love it, lots of people hate it. It's alright, it's near the end of the stream anyway, so it's fine. I think the WNCRR, you're one of the people that likes to see switching. I like doing it, but I get why people don't like watching it. It's slow. Well, the cat has come to visit me. She's sitting up on her perch, staring at me. Just be careful not to get the speed up too much, because I know if I brake in icy conditions, exactly what's going to happen. Whoosh. Slide-o-rama. So we just want to get clear of these points. That's all we need to do. Yeah, I find switching fun too. I quite enjoy doing it. But I do get why some people don't like watching it. I do understand that. That should stop in enough time to not go through the stop board. And it has let me change those points, so perfect. Let's come and get our brake van. Oi! Oi! It didn't read the rail driver. Oh, this is going to be messy if it doesn't stop. We're going to have to use the reversing trick. Oh, look at that. It's figured out the next instructions. Something's scared it a bit, I think. Alright. I did use the reversing trick to stop then. Not a very nice thing to do to your engine, but that's okay. Now, what'll be interesting is, will it now recognize that we've done all the marshalling commands? Well, that'd be an interesting thing. It might. Because, you know, marshal lets you do things in pretty much any combination that you want. So we'll see. We'll see what we get away with. Alright, you can stop there. Don't throw the van off, though. That would be nasty. Come on, it's my hotspot. No hotspot? Alright, I'll do it the hard way. The answer is it going to recognize those things? No, it's not. So, let's just do what the next instruction says to do, which is to... we're going to drop it off in the Somerford up platform. So we're going to drop the brake fan there. All right, we can go and do that, and we'll see what the signals let us do for the rest of it. Might work, might not. We should technically stop for the stop board up here, but yeah, we're not. We're just going to keep going. The RU on that one. Oops. Let's just get in close. That would probably be the name of the captive service for Malmsbury, would be my bet, is that this brake van's only for use here. But let me Google it and see if I can illuminate. It's a dedicated branch brake van, is what that means. It's captive to the branch, it never leaves. So there you go. It is what I thought it was. Google can be helpful at times, and sometimes it can just drive you bananas. There you go, throwing a good number of Gretas into the atmosphere. See, I'm going to laugh if my jokingly described description of how much smoke you're emitting in Gretas ends up being a worldwide standard for smoke from a steam engine. I think that would be awesome if that happened. So spread it around. The amount of smoke emissions is measured in Gretas. And it's a very imprecise measurement, so any number of Gretas is appropriate. From a small locomotive doing this, we'd say that was 8 to 10 Gretas. Charging off into the distance. Whether the game figures out we've left Malmsbury? No, who knows? We'll see. I don't think it will, but we'll see. Maybe. This sort of thing often happens with TSC scenarios because sometimes the stopping points... I just realised this is a Just Trains route, by the way. It's actually not a DTG route. But sometimes the stopping positions are too exact. And even though it says 0.00, there's some decimal places, and the measurement that they've done... Look at that massive cable reel down there. The measurement that they've done in the game is too fine, too precise. So even though it says 0.00, it might actually be something like 0.0.0.0.1 in reality with the floating point calculator. And instead of in the game saying, is it between minus 0.5 and plus 0.5, which is what you should do in your scripts always, they've said, is it equals 0? And in floating point, it's never equal 0, and the upgrade actually made that worse. So you can either test that it's between two values in your Lua script, or you take the floor or the int conversion of the floating point number and test that for 0. So either of those will work fine. They'll get you back an actual 0 number, regardless of the floating point number, because I don't know if any of the audience know how floating point calculations work in computers. It's never 0. It's not possible. It can't actually be 0 mathematically in the way it's represented. It just can't happen. So you need to test for a range. And during the upgrade, they changed libraries, base libraries. They brought them up to the current C++ libraries. So they're the Microsoft 2023 libraries as the current ones. And in that, there was quite a significant floating point change from the old libraries, which were from, I think last time they upgraded the C++ libraries was about 2010. So it's been a while. And this upgrade actually had to be done, or this game would no longer work on Windows 10 and 11 after an update that came out for Windows. So you may have noticed a lot of your old games actually don't work anymore because of a Windows update that was done fairly recently. It was January this year. A lot of browser-based stuff changed at the same time because the minimal version of Chrome, and that version of Chrome is used in Steam, meant that a lot of the older Steam games wouldn't work anymore for the same reason. Going for our good last little cruise here. Only be a few more minutes before this finishes. And that'll be it for this week. So I have to go to my Outlaws and adjust a toilet. That's going to be an exciting afternoon, isn't it? Adjusting a toilet. I'll get a nice lunch for it though, not from the toilet. Plus I get to see them, and they're very pleasant people to be around. Yeah, better not accelerate. Actually, I have to think about starting to slow down, otherwise we're not going to make that 15. So if you weren't around before this version of braking I'm doing, going hard on and then hard off again quickly, what that is effectively using is the steam brake in the locomotive. It's actually too quick to activate the vacuum system and have it actually do very much. And it's a technique that I learned from actual drivers on my UK holiday. So it's a very cool technique. And it works particularly well with unfitted stock like we've got on here that isn't actually braked. There we go. We're down to the necessary 15. Now, did it want us to stop here, or are we going straight through? Are we going straight through to Somerford? That's fine. Far to go, we can see the Somerford station up there on the left. That's where we're headed, where you can see that footbridge up there. Yeah, the UK equipment by NCRR is actually the heritage of all rail equipment, because railways were actually invented in the UK. The first passenger carrying railway was between Manchester and Liverpool. which is quite a significant distance actually when you think about it, that the first passenger carrying railway was such a long one. Reminds me, actually, I wanted to check when I was next on the real railway. You need to do that. Oops, and I've just accidentally closed my browser. Because I need to know what I'm doing next Saturday. So I have a faint suspicion I'm actually on the railway. Next Saturday? I know you guys can't see what I'm doing. I'm almost back up to the main line. So am I firing? Or am I track patrolling? That's the question. Saturday the 13th. There's a diesel job going too. I'm not firing, so maybe I'm track patrolling, because I think I'm on next week. Track patrol. I know you guys can't see what I'm doing. My apologies for that. No, I'm not. Got a week off. Look at that. Cool. Well, better pay attention to the game in the stream. Yes, and it was a dignitary that had been supporting them too. Now, we're supposed to stop in the platform and leave our brake van here. And I may have to use the reversing technique depending on how this stopping goes. I think we're going to be okay, actually. So just leave our little brake van right here. That'll be fine. Just making this up as we go along. Move train while door open. Really? It's not even a passenger train. Oh, well. Yeah, well, there you go. That's what happens when you're not following along exactly with the scenario. Sometimes it goes boom. It does something silly. But that's okay. It's just the way things go. That's fine. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I will be streaming on Wednesday night my time, which is 10 AM UK BST. It'll be, I think it's 7 PM my time from memory, and I will be streaming the 380 on that day. I have asked DTG, but I don't expect to get an answer back quickly, whether I can stream the Cathcart Circle upgrade without the 380 before that. So we'll find out. That is coming out on Tuesday, so Tuesday UK time, the Cathcart Circle update will come out for TSW. The 380 comes out on the Thursday for the public, and I'll be streaming it on the Wednesday, as will the other ambassadors if you've got another favourite that you like to watch. So looking forward to that. I won't give you details, but my gut feel is they've nailed the 380. Feels good. And we shall see you on the next one. So thank you very much to the new faces that popped up today. Highly appreciated. So do me a favour and smash the like button. And if you're not subscribed, please do, because that just helps promote the channel and helps it grow. So thanks heaps, folks. And it's been great talking to you as always. Enjoy yourselves. See you later.